So hi, in today's video, today we are going to see about instructions, and specifically regarding instruction, we are going to see about their usage, form and examples. So let's start. Let me ask you, what are instructions? You should have an open idea about instruction because in your day-to-day life, you should have heard about instructions everywhere, almost everywhere. So they are rules, requirements, or guidelines. And as I told you, they can be given and seen in several places, like at school, roads, play area, and so on. And the benefit of giving instructions is that it makes the process easy, and it's really helpful to minimize the struggles, right? And while talking about instructions, we cannot skip the topic imperatives. So what are imperatives? They are assumed to be in the second person. You will understand better when you look at the example. Enjoy some fresh berries. So this statement is an imperative. It begins with a verb, enjoy. And another important thing regarding imperatives is that do is used. The auxiliary do is used commonly with imperatives, but the other auxiliaries do not normally occur. It's practical, and do is also compulsorily used with negative imperatives. For example, don't drive fast. We need the auxiliary do to form the negative imperative. That's obvious. And remember that other auxiliaries apart from do are not used with imperatives. You can use do. For example, do enjoy some fresh berries. Or you can skip that. It's not a big deal. But negative imperatives compulsorily need don't. I mean, do plus not. So in the present situation, you should have seen this kind of instruction, like how to wash your hands. So what will you do first? You wet your hands, apply soap or any kind of hand wash liquid, wash for at least 20 seconds, then rinse well, dry hands, and finally turn off the tap with the towel. So look at each instruction, each kind of imperative, all of them begin with a verb, and you are not going to see, you are not able to see any other auxiliaries at the beginning. So this is the pattern. And now we are going to see some more examples at different situations, like instructions at home. So I'm sure that you should have entered into the kitchen during this lockdown period and help your mother. So while helping her, she should have told you that this kind of statement. Continue to stir until the mixture is thick. Did you hear this? I hope so. Another instruction, turn off the electricity before touching any cables. An instruction that that you might have heard at home. Another one, wear slippers while handling electrical items. And the last one, eat your vegetables, right? So these are simple imperatives for instructions that we use or hear at home. Another set of examples on the roadways. For the pedestrians, walk on the right side. For the riders, don't ride on the sidewalks. Cross the road at the pedestrian crossing. And the last one, respect the traffic rules. And girls, just remember, these are just a few examples regarding imperatives for instructions, but I'm sure that you are aware of many more and more instructions that you have heard in your day-to-day life. So again, look at these examples. All of them begin with a verb, and the second one, as it's a negative one, a negative imperative, we are adding do before the verb. Do not write, right? And now it's your turn to practice imperatives, right? Look at the instruction. Use positive or negative imperatives to rewrite the following sentences. Look at the example also. You can take my umbrella. So that's the question. You can take my umbrella. And why you change that into an imperative statement, that will be like take my umbrella. So choose the verb, and that will be at the beginning of the imperative, take my umbrella. Another example, you mustn't use your dictionary. The imperative will be don't use your dictionary. That's easy. I'll give you maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Just let's check the answers. Try by yourself. Then I will tell you the answers. All right, let's see the answers. Here they are. The first one, have a shower first. Second, don't do such things. Third, don't go this way. And the last, get a taxi. It's really easy. And now we are going to see another type of question that you normally have to face in your term exam papers at school. Look at this one. You have to match the instructions that are related with the places, and please try to do this. I'll give you 1 minute. Right, here are the answers. So at the bus stop, yeah, do not spit. At the park, yeah, keep off the grass. That's right. And the fifth, near the tank, number 5, do not bathe. At the library, be silent. And at last, at the temple, yep, remove your shoes. It's really easy, but these are the exact pattern of questions that you normally face in your term examinations. And now we are going to see another part of the lesson, notice and note. So this is another important type of question that you have to use in your, that you have to do in your exam papers compulsory. Like you sometimes you are asked to write a note, and sometimes you're asked to write a notice. And here we are going to focus on how to write these two things, how to properly write these two things, meaning the forms, the language we use, the content, and all these things. So let's go inside. So what is a notice? It's a way of communication. If you consider the school environment, when you want to give an information to all the people inside the school environment, you cannot go to each and every one and tell them like this and that. So we just display a notice, and it will be like understood by everybody. So it's a way of communication. So this is a notice, a sample notice, right? It's written by Ram, the head prefect of a school, right? Let's read this once. All the students are hereby informed that our school's prize day is going to be held on the 3rd November 2020 in the school main hall at 10 a.m. So look at the structure of the sentence. You are going to focus on the purpose, then the time, the date, and the venue. So all of these contents are exposed in one single sentence. And along with that, Mr. George, lecturer of the University of Jaffna, will be the chief guest. So here you are including the person who is going to be the chief guest. And finally, you are inviting the people, like all the students and teachers are invited to this occasion. So you can understand the pattern of the content. You have to focus on the venue, time, and date of the particular event and other specific important facts that you are supposed to include. And also, if it's a meeting or a gathering, you have to invite those particular people. And remember to put the date on the right side, and on the left side, the person who wrote the particular note, the post of the person, and if you want, you can write below that the club or the school that that boy or girl represents too. Another thing that you have to be aware of is that a marking criteria of a notice, like you are given 5 marks for each question based on notices, and 2 will goes for content, 3 marks will be for the language you use. So remember that you have to include the necessary information, and you should be very careful with the language you use, especially the grammatical errors. Like most of the students have a rich range of vocabulary, they expose them very well, but the error that they make will be mostly based on grammatical things. So be aware of those structures and patterns, right? And now we are going to see a sample note like we did in a notice. Again, we are seeing a note. Like the important thing that I have to mention to you, don't mix up the friendly letter patterns with notes. This is the most commonly misused concept. Like when you are asked to write a note, most of the students like to write dear Sam, my dear friend Sam, and while ending the note, they say with love, with lots of love, your friend. You have to avoid all these things, and also when you write a friendly letter, when you write a letter to your friend, you begin the body of the letter like, "How are you? I'm good here. Hope to hear from you soon." And you include all these things. Avoid all these clauses and phrases, all these sentence patterns, because a note should be brief and simple. It should include only the most essential things. Read this, the content. I'm sorry that I couldn't return your book as I promised. I'm sick at home. I'll surely pass it through Peter, a classmate, tomorrow itself. So the thing is that I mean, Hazel, the person who wrote the note, is not able to return the book to to Sam, and she is promising to pass it on the next day through another person. So that's the thing, that's the purpose of the note. So she has written only that fact, nothing else. That's nothing much more irrelevant to the situation. And remember, this is the pattern. You have to write the letter. You have to put the date at the beginning on the left side, sorry, on the right side. Then to whom you're writing the note, the name only. Maybe sometimes you can add the word dear. You can say dear Sam, dear friend. That's okay, but don't add too much stuff. And also at the end, the person who is writing the note. So mention the name only, right? And for the note also, we are going to check the criteria, the marking criteria, and that's also the same as we have seen for the notices. 2 marks will be given for the content and 3 for the language. But here also you have to focus on the language and the structure. Don't forget the format of writing the note. I'm repeating this statement again and again because as far as I marked so many papers, question papers, the answer scripts based on notes will be like letters. When the student is supposed to to write a note, he or she will write a format of a letter. So I know It's a confusing thing. The only thing that you have to focus on not brief and simple. That's all. All right, girls, that's all for today's lesson. So we have seen about two things, imperatives for instructions, and then we saw, yeah, notes and notices. We'll see in another lesson. Until then, take care, keep learning new things, right? See you all. Bye.